Hello duelists, my name is Maximilian Fleischman, and today I will be going over the Altergeist side deck. Cards that made it into my side deck will be discussed with reasons why, and also I'll be going over plenty of cards that did not make it to my side deck that are still great choices and can fit in many different places. You can play the side however you want. My side is not perfect in any way. No one's will be. So hopefully I can give you these tools to kind of make it as good as you can get. And this format's going to be, I think, a pretty smooth format for Geists, honestly. So let's hop in. Cards that made it to my personal side deck include 3 Nibiru. There's not much to say about it. I mean, you know why this card would be great. Some tips is to hold it and make sure you don't just hit the 5th summon. Especially if you know what your opponent's doing while they're comboing. Hit those choke points, hit those spots where you know they're about to go into their negate and then proceed to make their board. Don't run into spots where you waited too long and then they negate the nib and you feel like a goofy. Then we'll play 3 Kaijus. These are all supposed to be Godarlas, but I'm still waiting for this one in the mail. These cards I think are going to be the best way to take care of problematic monsters such as Lord, such as Dragoon, such as Mechabuzz. You know, there's no interaction with them. They don't give your opponent a chance to negate. It costs 1 card from your hand and it does what you want instead of just being negate bait. The reason you're playing Godarlas instead of Gamseals, which most people normally play, is just simply because of Bird deck. Altergeist normally don't have to worry about Bird deck going second, in games 2 and 3 special summoning out the statue. Normally they want to special out some Morg or something like that. But we still side it in for every matchup basically, so might as well be prepared if they try, if they misplay in some of the statue instead of something else. For the spells, we have a Duster. I can't wait until this card's just a little bit better. With Eldritch being one of the best trap decks out right now, this card, you'd rather see evenly matched other than this, but I mean, it still forces all 5 cards out, and then they're just going to cycle it next turn. But if you catch somebody slacking, and it's not Eldritch with this, it's kind of a blowout, obviously. Next, we have 3 Clones. This is for Eldritch. Honestly, this has plenty of utilities in other standard control matchups, of course, but this is the card that removes back row that actually affects Eldritch the most, in my opinion, outside of evenly matched. We got to stop them from getting going with their resources. Next, we play 2 anti-spell for when we're going first. Normally, you can side this in anytime you're going first, and you just swap it out. I play 2 evenly in the main, so if I'm going first, I'm going to swap those out immediately for 2 anti-spell. Generically good. You can always put it in going first unless the deck is, a deck that's not in the current meta. We enjoy this. We play 7 pots in our Altergeist deck, so we enjoy this along with Imperial, and sometimes we'll just play this instead of the Imperial with it. That way we can set our pots if we draw 1 or more. 2 or more. Then, speaking of the old man himself, there's Imperial Order. Also good. This card you just really gotta watch because it's so sacky. The chances of you drawing it equal to the chances of you bricking. And there's a lot of times I'll draw this and not have a way to fake it and be okay, set it for a few turns and hope to draw into it or I die. You just have to be careful with this card, know when to use it. Don't let it just be Cyclone bait because that's what happens a lot. But if it is, it gets it out the way. The last evenly matched, I main 2, so we'll discuss evenly matched. You should play this card anytime going second against any control decks, and even some combo decks. You can bait out a single negate, wipe the rest of their board, set your traps, and activate Faker next turn, and hopefully that'll be the equalizer. This card is a blowout. A lot of people won't see this card coming, especially if you main deck it. So here's the 3rd just in the side for when we go second. And then we side the Last Judgment. Solemn Judgment's a great card. You don't want to draw 2 of them when you're going second. You don't want to draw 1 of them when you're going second, but only playing 2 in the deck prevents that from happening, and having 1 side for when we go first, we'll shove it in there anytime. So that's my side deck. Next, let's go over some cards that didn't quite make the cut and that people ask about for Geist. Dark Ruler no more, right? Wow, what a blowout card, what a crazy card. Negate all monster effects on your opponent's side of the field that can't respond. The issue with this card is we cannot capitalize with Dark Ruler. Dark Ruler plus Melee Seek would be a powerhouse if Melee-Seek didn't require us to deal damage to the opponent to send. Since they'll take no damage, no battle damage the rest of the turn, you can't send off Melee-Seek. So playing this, it's like, what are you going to do? Negate? Stop one negate, but that's still a 1 card for 1 card to address the issue, aka baiting out the non-existent negate. And then you can't do anything else. Like, the only power plays like this would be like Dark Ruler plus Evenly. And we don't play decks, we don't make decks where we have to draw 2 side cards, for example. Everybody really wanted this card to be great, it just cannot be played in Geist. So we'll move on. Next we'll discuss a little bit of spice, a Necro Valley. Now, Necro Valley is insane against, let's see, like Dragon Link, Bird Up, Lord Can't Be Special, like from the grave with this. We just can't really play this because we interact with our grave a lot. A lot. I've seen people try to play this before in both this and Gru. I think it works out better in Gru because Gru has a lot more leeway on what they can and cannot play. They just have less restrictions for their cards that do stuff. You know, they have like Fiendus. They don't care that much at that point about reviving if this is up. Blowout card, really can't utilize it. We'll look at some Super Polys. Now, Super Poly is interesting because of the rise of Dragon Link, Verte Anacondylus Dragon Link, Verte Anacondylus VW, stuff like that. Now, I feel like a lot of decks are still just going to play the Verte, and I feel like a lot of decks aren't, unless they're geared towards it, going to do the whole Zolkin into like all that to make it without the bricks, basically. This card's good. Discarding the card's not really great in Geist to activate effects. As a resource deck, we really want to hold on to every card that we can and use them how we choose and not for cost. If it gets to like an Orcust level format again with Dragoon, where like everything's Dragoon, Anaconda, 2 monsters, you know, this could see play again. It's seen play in the deck before, and it can again, in my opinion. Next we'll go for Lightning Storms. Now, Lightning Storm is not needed in a deck like ours. Preferably, we'd rather hit them with an evenly matched going second to begin with. Also, after turn 1, we have face-up cards normally, like if it's the set, Manifestation, you know, Protocol, Spoofing, a Monster, a Hextia. So we don't really get to use this card too much outside of our turn 1, game turn 2, and normally I think we just also eat a negate. And because Eldritch exists, this card is not as great. Like I said, for Duster, like, you wipe an Eldritch board, you can't OT cam, they're just going to put all the cards back again by banishing. You know what I mean? So, I think if Eldritch gets hit, this could really find its place in the side deck to beat over control matchups, games 2 and 3, but it didn't cut it for me. And that doesn't mean it's not a great card. Like, I would love to hear how you guys have interactions with these cards I'm going over and why you think they're good or they shouldn't make the cut. Let me know if I'm just missing like a hidden spicy tech or something. Next we'll go over Book of Moon. This card didn't make it to the side deck because it targets, and we want to really like put things in that deal with cards that we can't out easily, such as Dragoon, for example. This is great against Zulish or just regular Eldritch. You know, it's good going first or second. I've never wanted it enough to put it in the side. Once again, Guru has better interactions with Book of Moon than Geist do. Next we'll go over Mystic Mine. Now, with Mystic Mine, it's still so good when it sticks, but you gotta think, you know, all of Eldritch deals with this, like their trap cards deal with it. A single Lord in hand deals with it if like their board gets broken and they like you're controlling the board with spoofing Melee-Seek type stuff. You know, it just has to land. Like it has to stick. If it can stick, it's really good. I just don't want to play this card right now personally because I think there's going to be way too many Cyclones like running around, too many back row removals for me to want to play a continuous field spell that has to stay on for its effect. Like, it's not like you're just activating and searching an Altergeist card or else we play a field spell. You know what I mean? But that's not what this card does. So, I really love this card in Geist because you can just melee seek control with spoofing. Like, you set that up, and then you'll remove a card every single one of their turns, bounce it back to hand. You'll still have 0 monsters on field, and you get to control when your Mystic Mine matters and when it doesn't. You can turn it on and off with spoofing. Next, we will go to Secret Village. Now, Secret Village is one of those cards. If it sticks, it's really great. The only reason that it hasn't made the cut personally is because it requires you to have a spellcaster on field, and then say if they take care of the spellcaster on field, we're playing too many pots to allow this to be killing us. So that's why we just play the trap cards. But if this sticks, the pros of this is that they can't even activate back row, like removal, or any just spell cards, obviously. Turn 1, like they don't get the opportunity to respond or anything. So this can be powerful, like I believe that. It's just, once again, we're worried about Eldritch cards and shit like that. This does not do well against Eldritch. Let's talk about Prohibition. Now, Prohibition has always been a staple fun side card in my life. Like, when Eldritch first came out, you just called Lord when it was like pure, and they'd be like, damn. And it's kind of game over from there. This card I would love to experiment with at some point, but I think the format's going to be a little bit too diverse for me to, like, want to keep this card in. Like, you can name this card anything, but I think there's plenty that can get rid of this before it impacts him. And that's through combo too. Like, if they play a Phoenix, this card's gone. You know what I mean? If they play any back row removal in the extra deck, this card's gone. You know, they're going to take care of the problem. Things that's really great against, like Guru, call Guru. You know, Lord, call Lord. Striker, call, like, fucking Ray type shit. You know, it's a great card. I would love to see somebody do something with this, honestly. Next, we will go from there. Let's talk about Ice Dragon's Prison. Now, Ice Dragon's Prison, I believe many people will find a way to stick in their main deck. I also had it in the main deck for a time. I took it out simply because, like, I hate the confliction with Faker. I hate when it's dead against decks, and there's plenty of decks that it's dead against. You know, if it comes down to it, like, you have to force a negate before you can even activate this if there's a Dragoon that you're trying to get rid of, and you're still going to lose 2 cards for 1. Like, this can find its way back into my main, but I think it's better suited for the side right now until it's Dragoon exclusive format. And I don't think that'll happen, luckily. So, you know, keep your eye on this card, have this card, pick it up for the low if you can get it from someone for the low. I don't think it's absolutely necessary, and I think the pros is that it can really blow out the best 2 decks, Dragoon, whatever, and Eldritch. But, you know, they just keep cycling their lords. Like, they have to have 2 on field. I'm sorry, 1 in grave, 1 in field for this to really hit to banish both. Otherwise, you're just snacking like 1 lord on your side of the field and keeping it there instead of banishing. And, you know, you can't activate Faker. And so this card, it's still a great card. It just didn't make the cut for me. Next, we'll go over Waking the Dragon. Now, the Draken Whackin' is one of those cards, like Zeus exists now, right? So this is a lot easier to get off than it used to be with them. Like, back in the day, you would hope that they open back row removal and they hit it, like with a Twin Twister or something. You pray they hit the 2, or you just set the 2 and pray they have the Twister. But it's, you know, with Zeus running around now, it's a lot more easy to activate. I just don't love this card. It relies on your opponents. What are you going to get, like an Exterio? That'd be cool. Last Warrior isn't great in this deck. You know, we don't flip and activate cards. We would just have to set, and that's not good. When it comes to, like, Ultimate Falcon, I never thought that card's been so great because there's, like, a single Boral Sword board, like, gets over it. Anything gets over it pretty easy. It's only 3,500 access codes, get up to 550 or 55 easy. You know. Not my favorite card. Didn't make it for me. Now, this one will be really interesting to go over. D-Barrier. D-Barrier can see a rise in popularity with Drytron now relying more on ritual cards, ritual monsters, and with a lot of decks, you know, getting to Dragoon. You can stop the Dragoon from happening if it's a Dragoon control deck. I still don't think it's great enough. or has enough utility across the board to be played. But that's just me. Like I said, all these cards that didn't make the cut, all good cards, can all work for other people in different situations, I'm sure. Let's go over Sanctum. Sanctum does what Sanctum did. This card just requires, 4 cards basically in your side deck, because you need the Scythe too. And with blowout cards like Torrential, Rivalry, I feel like we can combat them while they're going into the extra deck, versus stalling them for a turn and them having all their resources. Also conflicts with Faker, to be noted. In a format where it's like an FTK, if you don't have the hand trap or the, negates, I don't know. It's not really good right now. That's all. It's not the greatest right now. I feel like your cards combat it better than just waiting for them to go next turn and do the exact same thing. Feels like a wasted card, kind of. Now we're going into the monsters. Let's talk about Inspector Border. Inspector Border is kind of cool. You can play this card, if you want. It does its job. I don't have a lot of negative to say on it, other than it affects our deck. It costs a normal summon. It's 3 more monsters in the deck. You could take 3 monsters out if you wanted, but I would never suggest taking 3 Geist monsters out of even post-siding. He's huge, he's 2k. Like a lot of decks, you summon this, it will be a game over against combos, like right now. There's not a lot that interacts with this. I just wanted to have the ability to activate Fakers and stuff, like, even if I'm going second, even if I'm going first, I'd rather have the ability to play Geist cards than hope that Inspector Border kind of gets me there. Raw Sphere Mode. This card deals with the bird board. It also deals with Dragonlink boards at times. It's just not worth the normal summon yet. Like, if bird was just unbreakable, and like they normally summon some more turn 1 versus instead of normally summoning like this deals with bird board, post-siding if they summon Smorg, this is a normal summon, wipes their entire board, that's pretty good. You still set back a normal summon. It's been in the side deck recently and it's been taken out recently also. That's kind of that card's entire life cycle in Geist. Let's talk about Shifter. D-Shifter personally, you need Milliseek to go to grade to search Faker. That's like the only reason I don't think we can really play this card. And we got board wipes with Torrential. We don't want to wipe our own monsters if you're ever in that scenario to the banished pile. Geist cards don't like being banished. It's sick, like, you've seen it with Guru Control. None one of them cards Guru has access to. This card can do so much. It just hasn't made the cut for me yet. I'd rather just hold on to my Nibs and my Evenlies and my Kaijus when I'm combating combo versus activating this, hoping to draw a turn 1 exclusively and then going through it. And finally, let's talk about Droll and Lockbird for the monsters. Droll and Lockbird, it's one of those cards that's super powerful, but because Altergeist can't just OTK you, like, it's not as great. Because this isn't interacting in a way that negates and makes your opponent waste cards, it just interacts after they get a card, and then it turns it off for the turn. So they still have that card, right? And you're down to 4 cards, right? You draw your 5th card, and if you don't have game, basically, in control from that point on, they're going to have 5, 6, 7 cards during their turn, and you're going to have to play through that, Droll's seen play in Geist, and I think it can again. I just think we're not there yet to where we can capitalize to the point that this would be worth playing. It's another card you have to see in your first 5 cards, and that's why it's not played on top of that. So, to recap, we keep a Judgment in the side. We keep it evenly in the side. We keep Imperial Order in the side. We main 2 evenly, by the way, and 2 Judgment. We keep 2 Anti-Spell. We got the Cyclones. We got the Dusted. We got the Kaijus, and we got the Nibs. I think all these cards interact really greatly in Yu-Gi-Oh! In this meta, in the upcoming meta that I'm not sure what it will be exactly yet. But I hope you enjoy. I hope you think about all these other cards that I've discussed. And just let me know, like, if you're having extreme success at your locals, at your tournaments, on remote duels, anything, you know. Talk to me. I love talking to Geist people about stuff. You know, we got the group chat going. We're theory crafting. You know, we'd love to hear your great ideas if you got them. Remember just to like, subscribe, and comment. You know, what card do you think that I'm missing should go in my side deck that's staple? Because everybody has cards that they believe are staple in the side, you know. Alright, well just thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you get something out of this video. Have a good day. Keep flipping trap cards, keep comboing after you flip trap cards. Peace.